Alright everyone, welcome back to Nathan's Health here on YouTube. Today I'm going to be going through my 10 favourite exercises for hypertrophy, maximising those aesthetics. Yes, I care about strength, but overall the most important thing to me is building as much muscle as possible. So these are the 10 movements that I consider essential when it comes to building muscle inside the gym. At number 10, I have the standing calf raise. This is going to be the best exercise for building your calves as much as possible. The reason it's at number 10 is because I'm not spending that much time thinking about or training my calves. It's just not that important to me. The standing calf raise is going to be superior over the seated one. You want to be having your knees fully extended, so you can do it on a leg press as well. I just find that the standing calf raise makes the most sense for me. If you want to build your calves as much as possible, then you probably want to be training them every single day, or at least every other day, just because they're a really stubborn muscle and it's going to take a long time and a lot of work for them to grow. Number 9, and this may rise up the list in a not too distant future, but for now I have it here. It's a hinge movement. I love an RDL. I think it's transformed my back pain, essentially got rid of it. It's been really helpful for me. I had lower back pain basically the entire time I was lifting, and I thought it's because I was stressing, putting too much pressure on my lower back in exercises like the squat. But in reality, I think it was something to do more with weakness in my lower back and my spinal erectors. And now that I've started regularly doing RDLs, I've grown my spinal erectors, I've become stronger, and now I don't feel that same pain and I can just lift easier. Overall, I found my entire back has got way stronger, so I'm really happy with this movement. The cue is to let your rear extend back as far as possible to make sure that you're using your hamstrings and your glutes and not just lifting the weight with your back, because that is what could lead to injury. Number 8 is going to be a pull down variation. I like a pull down, it's an enjoyable exercise to do, but I think it doesn't target the lats as much as you might want it to. I'll choose a lat pull down over a pull up just because I find that pull ups are too fatiguing. But the main problem that I have with a pull down is that it uses the upper back quite a lot in the movement, which means that I can't target the lats in the way that I really want to in this exercise. But it is really easy to load and then progressively overload over time. So I think this is a movement that you should definitely be including in your routine. It's just not my favorite. Number 7, I'm going to be going for just a regular push down. I like to do this unilaterally because I find that it's more stable. When I do two-handed push downs, there's just not that same control over the weight, and I find myself using my core more than I would like to be, which means I can't focus on hitting the triceps as well as possible. But I do think this is the best movement for targeting the long head of the tricep, which is the largest part of that muscle group. It doesn't hit the other parts as well, so it's good to pair it with a dip or a JM press to make sure that you're hitting the entire muscle group. I also like an overhead extension, but I found that regular push downs are just more comfortable and allow me to recruit more motor units in that long head of the tricep. Number 6, I'm going to go for a lateral raise. Whilst this is absolutely perfect for hitting the lateral head of the deltoid, I just find that it's quite difficult to load and get stronger at, which can quite easily lead to a plateau, which is what I've found time and time again with this exercise. This has always been my go-to exercise for the delts, because you don't need to be hitting your front delts too much because they get smashed whenever you do a pressing movement. But I just can't say that doing lateral raises is my favorite part of going to the gym. They are going to be the best exercise for getting those Death Star delts though, so make sure that you're spamming them. The cue here is to think about your arms swooping up and away from your body to make sure that you're not engaging the upper traps and just shrugging the weight, because then you're going to lose motor unit recruitment in that side delt. At number 5, I just have a flat machine press. This is my favorite exercise to do in the gym, but I have to put my bias aside here. It's not the best for building as much muscle as you can. It's so easy to progressively overload and track your strength progress every single month, but the machines can vary a lot. Sometimes my anatomy just doesn't work for every single flat machine press, which means that if you go to a gym and there's not one that's good, that works for you there, then it's just not going to work. I also want my machine presses to be converging in the middle to make sure that my elbows are coming as close together as possible, because that's what the role of the chest is, to bring your elbow into the midline of your body. And sometimes they lack that converging motion, which is going to lead to less growth over time. I have also found that strength on a machine just doesn't translate to bench, and that is something that I have to think about in my training. Overall, I want to build as much muscle as possible, and the machine is more stable, so it's always going to be more hypertrophic, but I do still want to be able to lift heavy. And bench press is really the benchmark for that sort of thing. At number 4, I'm gonna have a squat pattern, particularly a hack squat or a pendulum squat. I just find these perfect. Even though it is hell to train quads sometimes, especially when you're lifting heavy on a machine like a hack or a pendulum, this is the movement that's gonna build the entirety of your quads the best, and they are a really important muscle for aesthetics. I also do like that you can focus on lifting heavy and progressively overloading. That is something that makes training these fun. The key here is to point your toes outwards, to not put your body in an awkward position where it could get injured, and make sure that your knees are over your toes for knee health. When you build strength on an exercise like this, you just can't beat it. At number 3, I'm going to go for a machine preacher curl. This is my favorite way to train the biceps. I will always choose the machine over free weights, especially over a bar on the pad, because I just find that it feels like I'm going to snap my biceps, and that is no fun at all. I don't want to be risking injury, so just use the machine. It's as good, if not better, for building muscle. If you really want to maximize bicep growth, then you probably want to be pairing this with an exercise that puts your bicep in the lengthened position. This is going to be like a Bayesian curl where your arm is extended behind your back. But overall, the preacher curl is an amazing way to train your biceps. I think it's the best bicep movement, and you should definitely be doing this week in, week out. Number 2, I'm going to go for a machine row, specifically the hammer strength one, where it has a bunch of different grips and you plate load it. It's just amazing. You can do a narrow grip or a wide grip. You can target the lats or the upper back, whatever it is so good. If you want to be targeting the upper back, then you want to flare your elbows and lift like this. And if you want to target the lats, you want to think about driving your elbow into the midline of your body. I just think this machine covers all bases. You can train your back in so many different ways using it. It is just amazing for variation, and then for allowing the muscles in your back to do the role that they're supposed to be doing, which is going to lead to the most amount of muscle growth. It's also another one where it's so easy to make it heavy and to progressively overload, and I just find it a fun thing to do. You are going to want to pair this with a vertical pull like a lat pull down or a pull up, but I think a machine row is the best exercise for building your back. And at number 1, I have a pec fly movement, whatever it may be, whether it's the pec deck or on the cables. I find the pec deck better because you can stabilize better, which is going to lead to lifting more, therefore more mechanical tension, therefore more muscle growth. I think everyone can agree when I say that training chest is the best thing in the world. There's nothing that beats a good old chest pump. And so number 1 has to be the exercise where you're training the chest as well as you possibly can. A pec fly does exactly what the role of the chest is, to bring the elbow into the midline of the body, and that's the cue. You want to be thinking about bringing your elbows in and not your hands. You could lift that weight even if it's too heavy for you. You could lift it like this and pull your hands together, but that doesn't mean that you're activating the chest as well as you can. You really want to be thinking about getting your elbows in, because that is what the role of the chest is. It's also a good idea to retract the scapula to make sure that you're not using your front delts, and straighten your arms almost fully to make sure that you're not using your biceps. But what more can I say? This is the best exercise in the game. If you're not doing a pec fly, then you're really missing out. This is how I blew up my chest and finally saw some growth after years of plateauing. And that is my list of the 10 best movements for hypertrophy that you can be doing inside the gym. The key for me is to be thinking about which exercise allow your body to complete the role that your muscles are supposed to complete. If the role of your biceps is to flex the arm at the elbow, then you want to be doing a movement that is best for that, and that is the same for every single muscle. Which movement will be targeting that muscle in the best way possible? Stability is also a key for me. The more stable you are, the more motor units you can recruit in the target area. Whenever you do a movement where you're feeling shaky, your body's having to stabilize for you, that's going to lead to less motor unit recruitment in the target muscle. You're not going to be able to lift as much, you're not going to grow as much muscle. Let me know if I missed any of your favorite movements. Drop a comment, leave a like, subscribe if you like the videos on this channel, and I'll see you in the next one.